5, 4, 2, 1. Let's get rocking and rolling. Welcome everybody to a brand new episode of Off the Track Podcast. Um, we're joined by John Dempsey and D-Rob. But before you continue in this episode, if you haven't watched the previous episode with our special guest Spencer Paysinger, I encourage you to go watch that right now. Pause this video, go watch the other video right now. Well, today we are joined by another member of Off the Track Podcast, Abby.
Hi guys, I'm Abigail Paez, or just Abby. I'm also on the track team, and I run the 8. And I'm super excited to be on this episode with y'all.
Sweet. Thank you.
Nice.
Today we'll be talking about the microaggressions directed towards minorities, people of color. We'll also be addressing the Black at USC Instagram page that caught a lot of steam lately, and it is making a lot of changes, causing a lot of changes in the USC community. And we're just going to talk about the overall social climate.
Yeah.
That page in particular, like, I remember that page has got to be, not even 2 weeks old?
Yeah.
Like, it's already got 11,500 people following it. Like, I remember first seeing it, I think somebody just, posted on their store, and I looked, it was, 40 people had followed it, but you look and just kept building and building and building steam. And, it's insane that it's at, like we talked about, 484 posts now.
Yeah.
Within a week and a half.
It was once I followed it, it was I was scrolling. It was 10 straight posts. I'm like, what?
And one of the key things is in all these posts, if you look under how it has the class of which they were in, they have people who graduated in 2017, 2016, 2015, and they posting these things. So
there's people, I saw some from 1976, there's
it's
a
going
long time.
way back. It's going way back.
And I see there's high schools starting to make their own page. Like my high school has made a page now.
Mm-hmm.
It's just blowing up. I was like, wow, this is crazy. This is a real movement. And they're all talking about microaggressions.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised, just because a lot of my friends who are Black or mixed with Black in some capacity, whenever we hang out, it's a lot of the time they'll bring up something you'll never guess what happened to me in class today, or something like that. And a lot of throughout since freshman year, and a lot of it will be something that is along the lines of a microaggression. And I think now that there's this movement, it's just amplifying things that were already happening. But yeah, I'm not surprised that to see so much people coming out about it.
Yeah, over the time, it just shows how social media has played a significant role in social movements. Because even back in 2017 and all the way back, you wouldn't have heard of these things. Now everybody is able to go straight to text and share their story. It's really been blowing up, and it's kind of crazy to see all the stories.
What's crazy about it as well, I mean, it's kind of when we get into the whole talking about microaggressions, it's one of those where it's literally called a microaggression, so it seems like a small little action. And it's kind of like what we talked about when we talked about systemic racism. It's one of those that's not easily picked up. And if you pick it up, you notice it. And you look at all this stuff, I mean, you got 480 posts. This is something that's obviously being heavily noticed right now. And one of the things that caught my eye about it is it's a page that's specifically Black at USC and talking about all these microaggressions. And one of my favorite things about it is each one is, cardinal or gold. Each picture, cardinal gold font. And so it's meant to represent exactly what USC is. And in turn, if you have that as representation, it's a scary thought.
Yeah.
It's very interesting to see that all the different testimonies are different.
Yeah.
Everybody's having a different experience. It's not what a Black dude walked down the street you must be an athlete or something. it's something different every single time. Staff, faculty, TAs, everybody. Everybody getting affected. Even the bus drivers. When I read those things about the bus driver getting fired because I forgot what he did. Well, it wasn't even that serious, but he got fired based on the color of skin. It's something that he did. I thought that was a very crazy story.
Yeah, yeah. To bring up that point, it's not just students at SC. It's students, faculty, the whole nine. It's everybody. So
Yeah,
that's what makes this post powerful. It's not just one body of people. It is everybody.
yeah. Like a couple of days ago, there was a staff member of Annenberg who posted something like, "We've been having meetings for hours, but not once has this issue about racial inequality has been brought up once in their meetings." I thought that was crazy.
I mean, if you look, there's like Annenberg, and I don't mean to like specifically single out Annenberg, but like on the post, you see certain areas of the campus, certain aspects of like USC that are specifically being targeted out. I mean, one of them
Oh, yeah.
I have seen Annenberg quite a bit, but like me not being in Annenberg, like I don't know of the atmosphere. But at the same time, like you look at all the Greek life going on, and Greek life is attacked maybe every other post.
Greek is getting
Yeah.
hammered.
Yeah.
Hammered.
Yeah.
So much. It makes so much sense, though.
Yeah, it's one of those like you're not just surprised. Like you're literally just surprised. Let me rephrase it. You're not surprised by each of them. That's all I'd say about it.
That's
And,
why that's why a lot of people don't go down there.
yeah, it's Greek life in general is just it's a scene that's just tough.
It's
For
like they
Mm.
it's like they pushed the original purpose this Greek life is for. Greek life is for, to join sorority or fraternity, to meet people, to network with people, to grow with people. It's like every year that narrative is just getting pushed out the window, and now Greek life, they just making all kind of things to where it's not even like, well, why are y'all doing this? Y'all pushing away from the original meaning of Greek life. So that's one uh, thing now that caught my eye in all these posts is how much of the Greek life is getting attacked, and rightfully so. Like they should, because what they have been doing is not right at all.
and it's not even like the stuff that's being attacked with Greek life. It's not the microaggressions like we talk about. It's pretty blatant, like
Yeah.
racist. It's
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's what's being happening.
Point blank. Yeah.
I mean, if you look,
I think.
no, go ahead.
I think one of the reasons why we see this in Greek life particularly is because, first of all, Greek life is expensive. And we've already talked about, like, systemic racism, when we see a lot of wealth mainly being, amongst white, the Caucasian spectrum. So that automatically eliminates a lot of black and brown peoples. But also there's this sense of it's almost when you talk about the police or the military, but there is this like weird sense of brotherhood that means like when something goes wrong, they like close barracks and they don't let anyone like talk about it. Like if there's a sense of just like hiding your mistakes and not trying to better and not holding your own accountable. Yeah.
If you look, like I mean, I got people that I know that to be in Greek life, and you see some of the people that I believe I know to be on some of the boards of these, and they see that they've acknowledged it and they have sought action to it, and so there are some, while it appears like blatantly racist, behind the scenes, like from what we know, is that it has a history, just like she talks about being pushed aside, being a little bit oppressed, the topic not talked about that much. But you see a new wave of people like that do take a lot of issue with it. that happen to be in the Greek life. So you know that is a small little form of progression, but at the same time, like, it's noticeable.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And I think that like a lot of these organizations are very, very much reactive instead of proactive. Like a lot of times they don't say anything or do anything until some big event happens and everyone knows and they're like, I have to, damage control at this point, and it kind of diminishes a lot of the change that further they want to do. Even not to say that they shouldn't, right? We want that to happen, but it does leave like kind of like a, I don't know, like an eye roll kind of to see like you kind of just sorry you got caught kind of feel.
Yeah, but that's how this country operates. Change doesn't happen until it really needs to happen, or we get caught.
Yeah.
That's
You know, fine. You're not gonna find about other things until one major thing happens. Then after that major thing happens, oh, now this is up. Let's bring this in, and then let's bring this in. So, like what Eric said, this is basically our American setup, and where we at right now is heading in the wrong direction.
It's also, I mean, if you put like of all the posts that are put onto Black at USC page, and you look at the majority of it being Greek life, and it talks about the in person like studying the microaggressions there. It's hard also, if you think about it as well, for the president and people to act on this in terms specifically of Greek life. Like, let me specify that as well, because that Greek life in general is not specific to USC. That's the problem. It's a culture that is presented at every single campus. And like I've had family members studying Greek life, and I know there are people that are in Greek life that are 100% not like this.
Yeah,
They're not like this. But you get the people that are frankly entitled, frankly spoiled, come from, like Abby talked about, white affluent areas, that microaggressions, they're naive to that. Naive is the wrong word, but they will fall perpetrators to that. And it's hard for the president and administration to adhere to that as much as they can on campus, just because, like I said, it is a cultural problem rather than like an institutional one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Fixing the stuff that's happening. Like I said, you see Annenberg pop up a lot. Like that's stuff that you can probably will see addressed and handled through the stuff that's being posted. I mean, if you got people going back to 1976 posting about this, like
that's the problem. That should tell you something.
I think people are still waiting on Annenberg to say something, to make a statement or something, because I don't think they made one yet. I think just let the school make a statement, and yeah, and all these other schools just all the schools within the university just been quiet,
Yeah. Now for Annenberg, let's just say if they do make a statement, or if they don't make a statement, what's going to change after them making a statement, typing up a little letter? It's not really going to change anything. The fact that we still have this issue that's going on. So whether they make it or not, me personally, I don't see, okay, they making a post, okay, then what? Because at the end of the day, we got to get down to the bottom of the solution, and we got to get the change. I don't think a letter would do anything, because we have seen in the past that people or businesses or corporations have put out letters, and then months later they doing the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like at this point, a letter's not going to do anything.
Yeah, I think we're past the statement phase, the statement and letter phase. Like those are cool and all, but they don't do nothing. At this point, we need action. We need people to make an effort or not. And we need to see who you really are. Like you can't play. This is not a time to be in the middle.
Right.
As I know, a lot of people just don't want to be involved in like this kind of stuff because it makes them uncomfortable. But this is just not the time to be in the middle. Like, we're talking about humanity, respect, humanity.
And I feel like it starts. Well, number one, I feel like it's gonna start with the whole student body, because when they look at SC, they look at the student body. So it's gonna start with the student body, and I believe that President Folk will take into account what we have to say, and I believe that changes will be made. But it all starts from the student body, because we the ones that, not saying we run SC, but every year,
You pay the money.
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, so starts with body.
Yeah, I mean I agree. It is an aspect of student body, and I agree with what Eric was saying because I think a major thing that is being um, shown in this page in particular, and like while this topic on the podcast is microaggressions, and I think we'll go into like a lot of detail on instances of those. When we specify what's going on this page, it's because it's specific to like SC. So this is a very big spotlight into these microaggressions. And the biggest thing that I've gotten out of this page is a form of like it's sympathy and it's empathy. Like this is stuff that's just it's stupid that this goes on.
Mm-hmm.
Still, it really is. Like you got people, and like I'm not gonna specifically name names, but I've had conversations with people, a person on the track team that one of those posts, like one of those posts, I think was specifically about them, towards them.
Oh, I know what you're talking
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Mm.
So
I know what you're talking
yeah,
about.
I had a conversation with them, and like they detailed it. Oops. And like I was like, dude, if you're in the situation, I'm surprised like no hands were thrown. Like that's the feeling I got.
Wow.
And me knowing like I personally won't be in a situation like that. And if I was, yeah, I'd be pissed. And hands may have been thrown. They like it's ridiculous. And
Yeah.
you look at other ones like you catch several instances like this sounds like people like not trying to stereotype or specifically specify, but like it sounds like people like I know. And it's cruel that I think that they have to go through this.
Yeah.
I mean, and if you look as well, like, no, I mean, I was gonna bring up a topic. I'll save that for later.
So let's go into microaggressions. I'm gonna give a definition for the people at home who may not know what it really is. So microaggressions may be based on socioeconomic status, disability, gender expression or identity, sexual orientation, race, ethnicity, nationality, or religion. These insults or incentives may be exhibited by students or adults within the school community. Keep that in mind when considering each example. Oh, I got 3 examples too. As reported by fellow students. So just a few examples. Failing to learn to pronounce or continuing to mispronounce the names of students after they had corrected you. This one is very,
That's
and this one gets on my nerves so much.
and let's talk about that for a few.
Like I'm lucky to have a common name.
Yeah.
Because no one's gonna mess up my name. But like when you got like people with like slightly complicated names and a teacher like totally like they know they can pronounce it.
Yeah.
And they mispronounce it over and over again. I'm like, come on now.
Like, let alone microaggressing. That's just respect. In all honesty, that's all it is.
And I feel like microaggression comes off as a very like stereotypical way, which is not good. Like I was talking with a good friend of mine. He's in college, and he was saying how, and also he's a student athlete, and he was saying how he was in class and the teacher just quickly assumed that he is an athlete because how he was shaped and how he looked basically. And it's like, why should that be if you're a professor at a school, at a well-known school, why that should be the first thing that come out your mouth? Like at that point you just have no type of respect, you have no type of integrity. I just I feel like it just it's more of like very stereotypical. And it's not even the right kind of stereotypical. It just point blank just asinine.
Yeah. I mean, and then like the more difficult names, when the teacher don't even try or ask. Well, okay, they will ask how to pronounce it, and then be like, "Bro, can I just call you this?" Like, come on, you're like, it has a name. It's like the most sacred thing for a person to have, and you just want to call them out of turn. It's like that's disrespectful.
And I feel like that really, from what the people I know, it attacks more to the African culture because how their names are pronounced. But at the end of the day, that shouldn't give nobody to just blatantly over and over again mess their name up.
Yeah.
Like it's really affecting that community, which that community already don't get the respect that it deserves.
That community already don't like Americans.
Exactly. And so that just make it worse.
Sure do.
Yeah, I mean, if you look back, I'll specify back to freshman year because that's when I was getting to like know a lot of you guys. Majority of people I hang out with were like you two, Brendan, and you look at people like Talon and Tade. Like Talon and Tade are not very common names, and I know that. And you look at Tade, which is stemmed from Omotade, like it is a Nigerian name. Like it's specifically meant to pronounce as Tade.
Mm-hmm.
Times I've heard him being called Tade. I've been hearing Talon called Taylor. Like it's no. Like it's obviously written down, pronounce it as their name. Like, and I don't mean to like specify them out. I'm just giving those like a specific example, but
I don't know, they good examples.
so
That's
so they catch.
Then another.
I get pays a lot, and people don't have. Oh, go ahead, Eric.
I was saying like another example
Hello.
that's been talked about on the Black and USC page is when, at the beginning of a semester, the professor would ask people where they're from, what nationality they are, and then like and then when they call out like the minorities or any minority group, it'd be like a few of them to just single, and those people just feel single out because they already knew there's gonna be a few of them. So why would you like show them all to the whole class?
Yeah,
I hate that. Luckily, I've never been in a class like that.
at that point you not just even have a class, and somebody should have spoken up and be like, hey, like all due respect, professor, what you doing is very racist and very wrong. And I feel like even with all this stuff that's being posted on this page, I feel like even a more diverse faculty, especially in the classroom, should be a big change that needs to happen.
yeah.
This is my favorite right here. The microaggression example, anticipating students' emotional responses based on gender, sexual orientation, race, or ethnicity. People, the people who use microaggression, they expect black people to come off as aggressive. Well, obviously, I'm not coming off. I'm not coming off aggressive. I'm coming off passive aggressive. I'll just see when I feel like I'm getting attacked. I'll just sit there. I'll just collect. I'll just bring in everything. I'll just collect everything that person is saying. Then I'll like get them back later. But it won't be physical. It may be direct. It may be indirect, but it won't be physical. It'll be me using my words and just telling them, letting them know, or letting whoever's in charge know this, and this happened. I feel disrespected. Something needs to happen.
Yeah, I feel like with that, it goes back to what people was being put out there. Like you look at these TV shows, these movies, even even in the music industry when they make like music videos and they rapping or they singing stuff like that, they people from the outside looking in when it regards black people and how they come off in movies and whatnot, they feel like, oh, that's every black person. That's what they do. That's what every black female does when they get mad. They be ratchet, or that's what every black male do when they get mad. And really, I think the people need to be really educated. And when you around people that doesn't look like you, I feel like you need to really educate yourself on who that person really is, because it all starts with what's being put out there, and it's been put out there for years, decades. So that's to be honest, I feel like people who not educated on different cultures, they look at that and be like, okay, that's how they act. So let me microaggression. So no.
That's how they act. They must all act like that. Like, no.
Yeah, I think it's also like in media, it's even more subtle because I think it's even more subtler than just seeing like black people as aggressive. Because even so, do you guys know about like the white savior trope in film? Have you heard of it?
No.
No, so it's basically this common trope if you notice in a lot of films with we see it often with like black or indigenous peoples where the main character, the protagonist, is a white lead and they're somehow saving or helping the like broken like black or indigenous like supporting role. So we see this in like The Blind Side, or I don't know if you've seen Dancing with Wolves, or something like that, where you see, even though you're seeing this from the lens of someone who wants to help, and but if you look at how the film is being made, you see that like the black people in the film or the indigenous people in the film or really any minority in the film is being highlighted by their negative attributes, whether it be like a breakdown or how they're poor or how they don't have an opportunity in some lens and are therefore need to be saved. And although the intention there is like, oh yeah, they're trying to do good, you still see that it creates a perception of not being capable or not being like able in their own respect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's notice that. And also notice that they like to kill the black people first. That'd be frustrating. And like
Yeah.
it's like a lot of stuff we do, y'all could do. In some categories we could do better. And in some categories y'all could do better. But we just want to be treated as equal because we do a lot. Yeah.
And my thing is, I mean, we all the same. Like, if you take a knife, I'm not saying do it, but if you take a knife and we all just make a slight incision on our hand, we will bleed the same color. That's I just don't understand. Like, how can you be that person that just downright full of hatred to a certain race? It doesn't make no sense, but it's who they surround themselves with since they was young, because racism is taught, and is what they do outside of those walls. That's how racism builds up, and that's how stereotypes builds up, and it doesn't make sense.
And then people, well, this may be getting off topic a little bit, but it's like when people were attacking like 4th of July and the Declaration of Independence, and the people like, yeah, everybody should celebrate it. And then you got people saying, okay, but who was it freedom for at that time? They're like Native
Mm,
Americans were being killed and African Americans
mm.
were enslaved. So who was the independence really for?
It wasn't for us. I'll tell you that right now.
Very much the white men at the time in the white community.
Yeah, and white women wasn't even treated equal. They,
Mm-hmm.
they had to fight their way up to equality too. So if anything, they should know what we're going through.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can see how they could be blinded um by like the white man's success and stuff.
Yeah, because the history is not being taught right. The real history of America is not being taught whatsoever. So you're gonna have all these misconceptions on what this means and what that means, but really, everybody just need to really look up on the history of America, and you will see a lot of things that be like, "Wow, I can't believe that happened."
If you think about it, the history of America is very ugly.
Yes.
The history of this world from like 1400 on is very ugly.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a lot of wars, a lot of hatred, a lot of killing,
Colonization.
yeah. It's just one side trying to get power over the other by any means necessary.
Through that history is a lot of stuff that they did that's not being out there. So it's like, although the history is there, there's some things that they're trying to scheme away from. And I mean, you gotta be honest. You gotta look at the whole history. So it's like they only putting out certain things. And to make change, everybody has to be educated on the right things. So that's got to be number one.
Oh, I have one more microaggression that popped in my head. It's from elementary school. It'd be when the teacher calls on a kid to read a certain section that they know they will struggle.
Yeah,
That got on my nerves.
yeah. I actually
Because
had that
that would
also in
happen to me
elementary.
sometimes.
Yeah,
I wasn't the best reader at the time. And I'd be like, oh man, like why are you doing this? They'd be like, oh, such and such. I haven't heard you read in a while. I was like, I read yesterday. Like, why did you like leave me alone?
it's like they taking their power and it's like they just doing whenever and however.
Mm. It's crazy how I've also had like a lot of microaggression experiences in elementary. It's crazy how it's like you're an adult and a lot of times it's like these are kids. It's like why do you think that the kid would receive it any differently in a way? Like it's kind of, I don't know. I almost wonder if it's like, oh, they're a kid, they're not going to take it seriously, or it's not going to hurt as much. And I don't. It just it rubs me the wrong way when it's a grown person doing that to like a very young impressionable mind. No matter how apparent it is to others or themselves.
Yeah,
Um,
I remember second grade.
yeah.
So I hold a pencil different than what everybody's taught.
Mm-hmm.
So in second grade, we was doing something in class. Then I told the teacher that I couldn't read, so I asked what something she wrote on the board meant. Then instead of her telling me what it was, she just attacked me how the way I write, my writing style.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, come on,
Yeah.
like I just want to know what was written. You just gonna attack me? I'm
Yeah.
7 years old. Like, let me live. I lost.
Straight up.
I never liked it for the rest of the year.
Mm.
Lost
The
my.
thing is, they attacking the younger generation, these young kids. But the thing is, these young kids are very intelligent, and they keep a
Mm-hmm.
mental note of everything,
Yeah.
and it really affects them later down that road.
Oh, I did not forget anything. Anything big that happened to me in elementary school, I did not forget.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I
So
had
I
been
know.
in sixth grade to go. Oh,
Go ahead.
okay. I had been in like sixth grade and I had revisited my old elementary school, and like one of the administrators, she was like the magnet coordinator here at this elementary school. And at this time, I had started to straighten my hair in middle school, and I think a lot of women of color go through this phase where they feel like they need to straighten their hair, look more Eurocentric in a way, really. And I was going through that phase, and so I had straightened and fried the hell out of my hair at that time. And she's like, "Oh, you're back to visit, blah blah blah," and then she's like, "Wait, you actually brush your hair now?" And I was like, "Oh, absolutely not." And even then I was like, what, 6th grade? So that's like maybe 11.
Yeah.
And it's just the fact that like straight hair is associated with something like hygiene of whether you brush and clean your hair or not. And it's like I don't like, maybe she's not realizing in her head like, oh, that would sound, I don't understand how that was said without it being connected, like, oh, that kind of rude.
Yeah, I know. One situation I had, it's kind of a little off track. It relates to food. Being from the South, we love to eat fried chicken.
Oh,
Eat
that's
fried
so good
chicken
food.
every single day. I actually had Bojangles the other night at East.
Their the chicken biscuit sandwich.
Yes,
Fire.
the bone.
Love them.
Yes,
Love them.
yes. So it was after one of the high school football games. Friday night, the school just won, so we all either go to the local spot that's down the street from the school and get some food. So we all sitting down, and the waitress comes, and it's a group of African Americans, and she comes, and usually you get the menu, and they'd be like, "Oh, are they ready to order, or do I need time?" She just went straight into, "Oh, let me guess, y'all having fried chicken?" and laugh, and we looking like, "What?" No, I'm getting an omelet. Like, would you like that right there pissed me off? It didn't piss nobody else off because it was a joke. And it was like, no, that's very on account is very racist because very stereotypical. Because once again, the images out there in the media and whatnot, these movies and television shows and et cetera, that black people love chicken. Now, I'm not saying I don't eat fried chicken, but at that time, that shouldn't have even come out your mouth because not all black people eat fried chicken or certain things.
Yeah, that gets
So
nerves. Like
yeah,
black food stereotypes. Like I don't eat fried chicken that much,
yeah.
and then like the watermelon. Like I don't eat one. I don't like it. I stay away from it. What's the other black food stereotype?
Uh,
I'll figure out if I eat it.
It's a lot that goes with
isn't like isn't Kool-Aid thrown in there a lot?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I
Of
had Kool-
course, they're
I haven't had
Yo,
pancakes. Like since I was
yeah,
like
I haven't had it in a minute.
I had a Kool-Aid since I was 8.
So while they want to come off as, oh, just joking, don't nah, like this is a that is a very, in some cases, it's just downright disrespectful because you assuming something that you have heard in your lifetime that this is what this person automatically is going to do. So let me tell them what they're going to do. It's not the case.
It's also
Everyone is different.
if you see even if it was the intention of a joke, like what part about that is necessarily funny? A and B, what part about it can like even had to be transferred into a joke? Like why was that even necessary?
Right.
Like there's certain stuff that I mean you hear because that's what you see a lot is in terms of the stereotype in terms of the microaggression is like oh it was just meant in a joking manner, but like at what point did you conclude that what you're about to say like it's pretty much a cop out if you say that, but as well like at what point did you conclude that what you're about to say should even be said as a joke?
Right.
I think a lot of it goes down to, insensitivity, obviously, but also if you look at the history of Black people in the States specifically, like minstrelsy started it all, and that's what perpetuated blackface, these stereotypes, these minstrel tropes that travel a lot of times. It was, performed by white people to entertain white people by using degrading stereotypes as humor. And I think over the years, that don't become like normalized way, or they act out according. Oh, what happened?
You cut out a little bit right there.
Oh, I cut out.
Yeah.
What was the last word that I said?
Oh, but we could
I
do.
don't know.
You're talking about
Okay.
menstrual trope? Is that?
Yeah, minstrelsy. The minstrel show. A lot of people, I think, when they make these jokes, they think of it in modern terms and don't realize that what they're saying has a very long history of perpetuating negative stereotypes towards Black people. And then there's some that will learn that and change, and then there's some that just straight up won't, and which is a problem. I think why it's continuing to be a problem.
It was kind of something that I wanted to bring up in regards to the page and trying to see what course of action is taken. Because we see a lot of the talk of professors that are maybe in Annenberg, maybe in the School of Cinematic Art. That's another one that you see a lot as well. Like, as kind of Abby's been demonstrating, in which that happens in film all the time. Because if you realize that Annenberg and the School of Cinematic Arts are two of our most profound colleges on the campus, like, what actions do you see happening to which it's obvious that the professors, they are in turn microaggressors, but it's also obvious that in terms of professors, like, them themselves teaching is what makes the curriculum and the courses the level in which they are. So what kind of balances or what kind of actions can you see to keep a manner of both keeping it the level that it is and getting rid of the microaggression within?
So you know these town halls has been going on a little bit.
Yeah.
I think the faculty need to listen.
Mm-hmm.
We had one where all like the coaches listened in. I think that was great because they got our perspective, but the faculty, they don't really know the student's perspective. Like,
Yeah.
they're just now understanding it if they're looking at the pages. Well, some of them are. Well, some of the other people of color, staff members do know our pain and struggle. But I think staff members all over this university need to understand where we're coming from, what we're experiencing from them. I don't know how many of them actually look on Rate My Professor. I don't know how many people write reviews on there. But first, they need to hear our perspective. Then there needs to be like staff reevaluation.
Like deep,
Like,
real one.
like, come on. Like, they need like some type of training, sensitivity training or whatever. Because a lot of them, they're just joking. It's like, oh, this is just my personality. But I do this all the time. They like it. I'm like, no. But there's like a handful of students sitting wherever they are sitting that you're insulting, and then just feels hurt about it. And then there's gonna be that small group who feel like what they're doing now is right. They're just not going to change. And for those small people, they just got to go.
Right.
You know, this is
And to add on. Oh, all right.
if they want to, if they want to keep their ideals and teach hate like that, go somewhere else.
Right. And to add on that, I don't know if y'all did this in high school, but I know my high school we did student teacher evaluations where the teacher would leave, would get like the administrator would come in, give us a sheet of paper, get like an evaluation sheet on the teacher, and we don't put our names on it, but we write down, the question that is given. I feel like we need to take that high school element and put it in college. And
You have that though.
I mean, we had the evaluation, but
yeah, we have the evaluation, but it's not like
it's like based on how well we learned throughout the course.
yeah, it should be in depth. How is the class? Do you feel safe in the class? Do you feel respect in the class? It should be real in-depth questions. So when they have their little meeting, they'll look at it and make the necessary changes. And one thing I also add is you like what John said, the main schools that is on this Instagram, Cinematic Arts in Annenberg, and they both share one common thing. They both media outlets.
Yeah.
So that should tell you right there that who's in charge, President Folk, whoever, they need to go to those two schools because they are the ones that's putting out the images to the world.
I'm really surprised that Marshall hasn't gotten any heat, and I hope they do. I hope someone comes from Marshall's neck, because there's like no black students in Marshall. Like in every one of my classes, I do not see much of a black class. There might be one or two students in like two of my classes, and there's not a lot of like Latinx people either, that are actually like brown. Like, not to hold that against them, but it's a different experience to be white passing. And but the most common thing with, I think Marshall needs to recognize, is that they model minority myth so hard, and because you see the minority group that is well represented in Marshall are Asians, and not to say that they have not had their own problems, because they certainly do, but it way when you have a lot of agencies, but not that's a lot of minority. Like, when you don't have an equally representative minority like representation, it kind of makes you feel like, oh, should I have to look up to the Asians and do better? Like, that's like where the model minority myth comes from. It like comes from this like perpetuation of a certain minority group as more harder working or better than like the other ones below it. And Marshall makes that feel so heavily, and the USG does too, because I noticed that the Asian diversity group or whatever it was, like was more funded than the Black or Latin student assemblies, or which is a whole nother issue that needs to be discussed.
Yeah, diversity is the main thing. That from what you're telling us, diversity, and it's very true. Diversity needs to hit every school. Therefore, the accepting rate into these different schools need to go up. It just have to. Because they're the ones that's looking at these applications. And I know a lot of people that's, African Americans, people of color, that they want to go into business. So it's not that nobody wants to go into, Marshall or any other, high profile schools. It's they're not able to get in for some apparent reason.
I think one point that
Yeah,
can be made. Go ahead. Sorry.
like, speaking on Marshall, I just read something that the Fertitta building, named after Frank and Lorenzo,
Mm-hmm.
owner of Zoo, and they sold the UFC a couple years ago for $4 billion. They donate millions to the Trump campaign. So, like, you can't come on. Marshall School of Business, they had the Fertitta name on their building. Like, they gotta make a stand for silence.
And like while going along the like the path of describing all the schools that we think like appear on this, we do kind of want to, for those like listening, so we do want to argue that it's not specifically like these schools. And like while it appears that like when we talk about Annenberg, we talk about schools cinematic arts, and we talk about Marshall right now, it's because in Abby's case, Marshall like she has experience in it, and B comes to Annenberg, and like D-Rob, aren't you a comm major?
No, political science. So I'll be in law.
So like we have a lot of teammates and a lot of friends that have been in Annenberg, and We know people, like we know the success that the SCA has had, and so like
Yeah.
these are major programs, and these just happen to be the ones that you just see more frequently on the Black SC page that we kind of talked about. It definitely happens in all the classes. That it happens across the SC. So like we don't want it to appear that it's only specifically these like these colleges specifically. But and that's why I think a lot of what goes on and like kind of what I was asking and what actions can be taken place is we stem it back to our conversation with Coach Watt in the very first episode, is his idea of accountability. And talk about accountability in this instance, and you got a page that talks about high-ranking professors and high-ranking programs still acting like this, stemming back to like we talked about 1976, their class.
That's a long time.
2023 as well, like stemming across all that time. And it's not just students, but you also got staff members. They specifically have to highlight as staff members because they can't specify it to a college. They can't specify it to what the job position is, who they are. And I like that anonymous factor of it. But along those lines, if you got staff members complaining, like this is what we're talking about in accountability.
That's when it's real, even more real.
Yeah, and if we want to see action take place, like we see faults and a lot of what's going on in the administration, everything is being acknowledged. Like, it is being acknowledged, and there is some steps being put forth, but it's obvious that there is an institutional problem of stereotyping, microaggressing, Greek-like racism, like we talked about. Like at some point, a top-down reassessment of sorts is going to have to happen.
Yeah.
I know the university is busy on handling this COVID situation, but it doesn't take a long time. It's not hard to tell the students, faculty, and staff to be a good human for once.
It's not.
Don't have to don't label people. Like, it won't be tolerated. Like, it's not hard to lay a groundwork for change.
Yeah. Like putting a letter out, an apology letter. That's not gonna do anything. That's just not. So one thing I kind of brought up earlier about microaggression is microaggression towards student athletes, particularly at SC. Now, I know this issue has happened with all student athletes from D1, D2, and everywhere. So I want to get y'all take on it. But to me, I feel like student athletes is the same as a student. We all share that one thing. We're students. Now, although we do other things at the school, participate in a sport that's televised on TV, and et cetera, and we generate the money into the school. But I just don't understand how we're getting attacked heavily since I don't even know how far we could go back. But it's been a continuous thing, and nobody has addressed it.
Staff members don't believe we could perform as well as other students in the classroom. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And a lot of them believe, like, oh, you wouldn't have gotten into the school if it wasn't for your athletics. And for a lot of people, that's not true.
Yeah. You got it.
They forget we have to actually get into the school.
Yeah.
Exactly. You got to come in with the test scores. You got to come in with the GPA. You got to come in with the right classes. I just don't understand.
Like, Coach Carroll recruits people she knows will be able to make it. Like, that's first and foremost. And like he always jokes about, and like even if it is in regarding to a person who may appear to struggle a little bit, and she talks about the quivering of the hand when handing over the application. Like, she's not going to put in a person to fail at this institution, like to fail at the university. She knows. I think that's the level of every athletic program that's on campus. And when you talk about
they don't recruit people. unless they have a good grade.
Yeah, I mean,
Exactly.
that's pretty much the majority of everywhere, like as well. If you look at it, like uh, specifically like Notre Dame, for example, like Notre Dame has a level of standard of like being a student athlete, like you have to meet, regardless of you're an athlete or not. And I think that applies to a lot of colleges as well, specifically like SC. And while I think this stems from the conversation of Greek life we had a while ago, is the perception of a student athlete being a token, like, excuse my language, bullshit.
Yeah.
It's a ridiculous sentiment that we like still have.
Yeah. And that's why when we first talked about microaggression, that's why I brought up one of my good friends, because he's a student athlete and he's a good student. Okay, all he does is just play football. That's the only different thing. And I feel like especially when you go into the classrooms, everybody just look at you different because you got I don't know, got on all SC gear because that's basically what all of us wear because we just got done with weights or have practice or getting ready for practice after class or whatnot, or we got like this book bag. I don't the thing that is out there from the outside looking in that we get special treatment. I want to know what kind of special treatment do we get because at the end of the day, if anything, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves because our schedule is very demanding. Our schedule is more like a 9 to 5, and we coming in 18, 19 years of age to start.
Days is longer than like a
So I have like an interesting experience because unlike you guys, I actually like was at SC just as a student for a semester. Um, because the process of like getting onto the team took longer for me because y'all were in seasons, the coaches were busy, and um, but like so like coming from like the outside perspective, I know a bunch of people think that like priority registration or priority housing or stipends are what qualify as like the special treatment. Um, but what they don't really see is that like you're saying, D-Rob, like when you're basically working a 9 to 5 as an athlete, it's kind of like a trade-off. So in the end, it kind of just balances out. Like it's not like one is elevated before the other, because when I talk to them and they talk about like a lot of just regular students talk about like, oh, priority registration, the priority housing, whatever it is, but they also get their free time for the most part, which I think is really
What?
like, which is also like I don't think they realize like how valuable that comes with, because I know it's hard even like for me at least it's always been hard for me to get a job as a student athlete just because of the time schedules,
Mm-hmm.
like socializing, it's not the same. You can't just go out and party every night like a regular student can. um, there's priorities that make it a give or take situation.
I would say the kind of benefits that people like refer to it, kind of talking about, is not solely a benefit or a treatment that is particular to an athlete, but the term that they keep on forgetting all is first and foremost, it's supplementation. Like it's supplement. Like she talks about, it's hard for her to get a job with the schedule that we put. Well, that's why we get priority registration, in which
Exactly.
you
night.
know,
Sometimes during registration, we're like away somewhere.
I've set schedule, like I map out kind of Angela what and like if you got weights from 1 to 2, you got practice from 2 to 3. That's where the heart of most of the classes at the campus are. Like
What?
when we go running around the campus on a Monday, it is packed at
Yeah.
2 o'clock. It's ridiculous.
You don't get to choose your professors.
Yeah, there's certain professors like you go on rave on professors that you see a lot like or have a higher ranking and a higher rating than a lot of other professors, and like they got like a 1 o'clock class only, and you have like a 1 o'clock class or an 8 a.m. class in which knowing you got practice in the morning as well, like you're not going to get the 1 o'clock class.
Yeah, making a schedule for this fall semester was a struggle.
Yeah.
Looking at it,
Well,
And the thing that they don't realize is when everybody else had their registration, we would be in practice. It's the same time, so it's like, okay, we gotta. Okay, I give you this. We need to be the one to get our classes. Because the thing is, the student athletes, it's not a lot of us. That's not the main population. Like, it's not like 30,000 of us. You know, like people will still get their classes even when we register first.
and I'm
So I
pretty
just feel like,
cap off at a certain number of student athletes.
yeah,
it does.
I just feel like the student body alone just need to one fully know us as people, because it's a lot of us not just going there just for the sport. If that's the case, we wouldn't be eligible. It's just plain and simple. It's like
Yeah, what?
you basically, you know what I'm saying? Like you going to SC, a private institution, just to play sport. Come on now, that's might as well go somewhere else. You don't do that at SC. But the student athletes that's at SC are very smart, intelligent people, and that's what the student body don't realize, that we are people. We're not just athletes. We are people, and we have feelings, just like y'all. Our schedule is different. We do other things. We get few things like a book bag. We get books. We get stuff like that. But at the end of the day, we human beings going to school, getting our education.
I think one of just coming back to the microaggression topic and like just kind of looking at the time, the length of the podcast. I know we're getting to a time of may close somewhat soon. So there's one thing that we kind of from the beginning kind of wanted to bring up as well, in which have you guys seen the response of, it was called like the People at USC page?
Oh man, I was about to bring this up.
Yes.
Yes. I saw that.
Yes.
I first laughed because it is the absolute equivalent to a person responding in the manner of saying Black Lives Matter and saying all lives matter. That 100% was one what it was.
That was the first
Two,
one.
two, you look at like the first 4 posts, because that was the first one I saw before they went on private. And you look at them like, this is silly. Like,
Especially the
It's
one
very
that gets slapped back in the neck.
yeah, I was like, this is silly. And then third, to have your account that you put as an anonymous entrance as well, and to have it in a manner in which you want to represent everybody at SC, and then to make it private,
That just shows you
pissed me off.
who's ever running that account is that just shows you where their head is at.
I think the account is deleted by now, but
Yeah, I think they deleted it because I haven't heard anything from that page.
when I first saw it, I got excited. I was like, "Ooh, I love this." Then I didn't even look at the post. I went straight to followers list. I'm like, let me see who follows this page. I'm like, I want to see who you really are.
Nah, for real.
These people who they really are. I'm like, this is fun. Yeah, let me know who you are.
Exactly.
Thank you for revealing yourself.
Yeah.
Dumb. And this is what, like, everything that's been going on, I just like how people are just been showing their cards. They're just showing who they're
Oh, that's all this is doing.
I love it.
Oh, that's all this is doing.
But
You
I love it. Like,
you see the real ones, and you see the fake ones. You see the good people, and you see the bad people. You see everybody.
I love it. I'll just be quiet. Like, there's a few houses in this state who wouldn't. All right, they weren't normally have a Confederate flag out, but after all this, they put their Confederate flag out, or they'll. Yeah, there's a few flags that have been like half American flag, half Confederate.
Oh, they trying to be slick with it.
So I'm just driving around, looking around, like, cool. Thank you for telling me who you are.
At that point, it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah. And in a matter of like specifically having, in response to having the people at USC page, and like while it absolutely pissed me off, but to have that in complete juxtaposition to the Black at SC page, like first and foremost, you understand that if you have 11,500 people following a page, there's a level of empathy and sympathy that like you would expect being a student at SC, regardless of where you are.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, even if you do believe that every person at SC matters, read the room. Like,
Yeah, all right.
read the room. Like, it's
Yeah.
just not a time.
Yeah, and I feel like with this page, eyes are starting to open. Feel like the change is gonna come. I feel like one change I'm gonna really believe in that they do is reposition the people in these classrooms. That we have more detailed professor teacher, however they want to wrote it, evaluations. I feel like um, people high up, like the president, need to listen to the students, not just near and everybody, but listen to the ones that's talking that real and really hear. Matter of fact, put yourself in their shoes and really feel
They won't
what they
ever.
going.
They won't.
Because they don't ever do that. They just look at it as like, oh, okay, next. Like, really put yourself in these people's shoes, because it's it's real and it's deep and it's affecting a whole lot of people on a whole nother level. So
Yeah.
that's what I think they need to do.
And I think one of the first ways of doing so is like just take a look at the Instagram page. Like
Yeah,
literally, that's what you got to do.
Just sit
you don't
down.
even gotta read every post. Just watch it. Just look at least 5, and you will get the clue.
Just look at the first 5.
Look at the first 5.
You as a student, if you as a professor, if you as a person that works on the campus, just believes you and yourself are not an antagonist or protagonist. I don't know the proper term. In doing so, like if you think you're not a microaggressor, okay, still look at the page.
Yeah.
Like there's stuff that I have feared in the past that like I don't know if it's come across poorly. I don't know if I have been a microaggressor. But looking at the page, like it's obvious what you can do to like prevent that.
And not just reading it, but like I said, put yourself in these people's shoes. Read it from a different perspective. Don't just read it from your perspective. Read it in these people's perspectives, because if you do that, then you will understand and you will get the idea of what to do, what not to do, and what is being put out there.
One more thing to talk about. I feel like we need to talk about it. It's the decision what made yesterday or the day before by ICE. International students and student athletes. I think it's messed up, very extremely. I just can't believe a country would do that.
Like,
But then again,
I'm not surprised.
a country would do the unbelievable. But this thing, like I get it because no, I don't get it. I don't. Wait a minute, what am I talking about? So other countries have made travel bans on us. So I guess in turn, we're not provide. No, we won't let other nationalities come to the United States to receive their education in person or whatever. I'm like, you're messing up people's future.
Exactly.
People pay rent here. People work. People are more than just students here. Like people hope to have a future here. We're supposed to be the land of free, but we're getting.
We not. We haven't been like that for years.
We had never lived up to that
And
ever.
and I know we got teammates that's
Teammates.
internationally. And Once I know, because I know a lot more other internationally, I have a few more other people. So I'm gonna give a little bit of the background. They come to America to find a better life. They come to America to get out of the situation that they're in outside of the States.
Opportunity.
So to have the audacity to put my thing is, I know that other countries have banned people from travel from different areas because of the COVID. But what America is doing, they're doing it's not the right intentions at all. Like I don't know, well, I don't know why they're doing it, but in the manner that which they're doing is ugly, and it's disgusting.
They
Really.
think they think they're gonna bring in more COVID cases, even though the spike in COVID cases is because of lack of leadership within certain states. Well, within a lot of states, but
Yeah,
that's
to be honest, it's like if I were from another country, I would fear the U.S. more. Like a lot of the world is handling this better and or handled it better, and then like are now opening up and going to normal lives, and the U.S. is kind of just sitting there like behind the window watching everyone go outside again. Ultimately, because of the issue we have with healthcare and capitalism within our own country. Um, but yeah, it doesn't even from that perspective like make sense because the U.S. is worse off than a lot of countries right now. Especially, I know a lot of ones that like that I know a lot of students come from um, are doing a lot better than the U.S.
Yeah, because they took it serious.
Mm-hmm.
America feel like they invincible, and it was like, oh, well, I'm not just gonna stay in the house for 2 weeks. I'm gonna go out, and then boom.
Yeah.
Like
now. As soon as we started trending in the right direction, it was like, oh, we're good. Everybody open back up. Like, no.
people just
Mm.
feel like they above what's going on
Everybody,
until they get it, then they be like, oh, then they want to take it serious. Like, nah, this is a serious thing that's been going on for how many months now? This is what January.
This
or
is like four.
Yeah, the entire year. So.
Dude, I had to like I'm not one. I've obviously not had the virus, but put it in perspective. Like I had to take a test today for it. Well, the nasal swab sucks.
oh, I know.
It sucks,
I took one last week. That thing is horrible.
and like let alone that sucks. You think the virus won't be as bad as that? Like if you're uncomfortable, go get a test. You're uncomfortable, but you're more comfortable hanging around people that you don't even know have it. Like it's stupid. It's stupid.
And then people think just because you're asymptomatic, you're good. But
Yeah.
now there's like studies coming out saying that the asymptomatic people who have long term effects. Like there was a study in Arizona, an asymptomatic person got their lungs X-rayed or whatever, scanned, and the doctor was like, "You should be dead,"
Yeah.
even though the person was breathing fine and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. People just starts with leadership.
Yeah, and like Coach Watts talked about the first ones, main thing's accountability, and it's obvious that there's not a lot of accountability top to bottom almost everywhere.
It was really weird celebrating 4th of July with everything going on.
National Cookout Day.
Yeah, it just felt, it was just, it wasn't saying the same song, definitely. Especially, I mean, with the Black Lives Matter movement, with the ICE issue right now, with, like they're starting to gas, mainly Central Americans, like in ICE for some reason with like deadly poisonous gas, and it's just really like wow, our country's, I don't know, it has its issues, and I think America gets away with it because it thinks the best country on earth.
Well, I think since it's kind of obvious that D-Rob's screen is frozen, that
Yeah,
kind
D
of got put it off.
Rock, yeah, he got cut off.
I think this is a pretty appropriate time to maybe end. I think a lot that we were able to discuss, happy with a lot that we were able to discuss, and I'm looking forward to seeing. There will be another 484 posts. Hopefully, there won't be on this Black at SC page, and it's a topic that not easy to talk about, topic that is apparent in a lot of what happens at SC. But hopefully we see some reform, we see some first off acknowledgement, and like we talked about, hopefully we see some accountability. I think first and foremost.
Yeah. I'll just say follow the UBSAA Instagram page, follow BSA Instagram page, follow Off the Track Instagram page. Stay tuned to all the very dynamic things going on. There's gonna be a lot of big stuff going on in the next 3 to 4 weeks.
I'd say one more thing to follow. Shoot, follow Black at SC page.
Yeah, follow that.
See what we're talking about.
Use your voice.
I think with that, this has been another episode of Off the Track. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys next week. Bye now.
Right on.